the exceeding greatness of his power in those of us who believe. The majesty of his power in those of us who believe. The glory of his power in those of us who believe is manifested in ways that you could never imagine. He's given us Yahuwah, the Most High. Yah, the Most High, who creates. Yah, the Most High, who breathes into existence. Hallelujah! Praise the Most High. He's given us an incredible gift that we cannot even begin to truly understand the greatness of the power of that gift until we exercise it in his name, until we take the time to understand it in his name, until we take the time to ruminate, contemplate, and meditate on its power in his name. And then it all starts to open up. And this amazing gift he's given us, the mind, acts as a receiver for the word, for the message, for the way, the truth, and the life. And then you start to experience the exceeding power in his name in those of us who believe. So I'm gonna demonstrate for you what that power is by telling you a story, a true life account of how immeasurable the power is. Because I'm going to tell you right now, we take it for granted. We don't even understand. When we don't take the time to have his nourishment, feed ourselves the word, nourish ourselves with the word, to revel in his glory, in his word, in his message, to take the time to gain that spiritual nourishment, to ponder, to communicate with him, to pray on how grateful we are, on how thankful we are, to nourish ourselves with the word, with the good news, with the gospel, and to take the time to meditate, to ruminate on those phrases, those parables, those words, and on his life, Yahushua HaMashiach, on his life, the Messiah, the Son of the Most High, the Son of he who breathes life, the Son of he who creates, the Son of he who brings into existence, Yahushua, he who saves, the Most High who saves, the Most High who delivers, the Most High who redeems. That's the meaning of Yahusha, as I was just describing the meaning of Yahuwah, the Most High who creates, and the Son, the Most High who saves. That's what the words mean. So speak the word. But we'll talk about how his exceeding power manifests itself in those of us who believe. In those of us who believe, it all makes sense. In those of us who believe, we comprehend. In those of us who believe, we understand the power and we receive the power. And the power manifests. I'm going to tell you how. But there are those who would look at us, the wise of this world, who look at us as fools, who disparage us, who belittle us. The secularists, the philosophers, the scientists, the know-it-alls, those who can't leave well enough alone, those who are too smart for their own good. You know, these are the things that my grandmother would say to me. Too smart for your own good. Can't leave well enough alone. You think you know better. This could describe all the wise of this world who think they're wise and we are foolish. But the wise of this world actually perish. The wise of this world are actually dead because their souls are dead. They don't think with their hearts. They only think with their minds, and never allowing their minds to be open to the eternal transmission of Yahushua HaMashiach and of Yahuwah. No, they've got it all figured out. And every time they figure something new out, they're chasing something else. They're chasing another. It's never enough. There's never enough wealth. There's never enough food, there's never enough drink, there's never enough drugs, there's never enough alcohol, there's never enough party, there's never enough celebration, there's never enough technology, there's never enough invention, there's never enough answers. They're always seeking. But they're wise. They're wise. We're just fools. We should be so foolish in Hamashiach, such that we are innocent and pure and open to his message. Because we know nothing. But in Hamashiach we receive everything. And it is simple. It is simple. His message is so simple. I've said it before, and I'm not the only one who says it. It's been said throughout the ages. Love him with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength. Love your neighbors, you love yourself. And that is it. Through that, all else is received. Everything is received. And more than you could ever imagine, more than you could ever expect, more than you could ever understand. More revelations, more epiphanies, more instructions, more blueprints for how to live your life in a manner that pleases him most and that honors the temple that he's given you. Through this, the mind, which acts as not some desolate, cordoned off biological computer that gives you inputs and outputs so that you can understand the nature of this illusion, this mirage, this hallucination. No, it's a receiver. It's a receiver for the transmission, the eternal transmission. And through that, all things are understood, all things are revealed. And so let me describe for you the exceeding power. Because for the wise of this world, they just see a book. They just see some stories written on tablets or paper. And that's how they look. They're just stories. They don't make any sense to the logical mind, to the rational mind. So they're just fables. They're just mythology. But the wise, they know the ways of this world. They're clever. They're crafty. They understand how to navigate this illusion, which only leads to death, which only leads to dissatisfaction, which only leads to more questions, which only leads to a never-ending longing, a never-ending lust, a never-ending hunger, a never-ending thirst, a search for meaning that is never found. No happiness, no joy that lasts beyond the few milliseconds of your latest accomplishment before you're back down the mountain, chasing the boulder, pushing it back up again, searching for meaning because you never find it. Always frustrated, always anxious, always worried. That's wise? No, thank you. Yahuwah, who lives within me, reveals all that I need and so much more. I would tell you about his exceeding power that lives with us in those who believe, and those who do not see it, because they do not believe it, do not experience his exceeding power and grace and salvation and redemption. They do not receive the epiphanies. They do not receive the revelations. Why would they? They navigate this illusion, this hallucination, this mirage. They're lorded over by the lord of flies, the lord of filth. They're lorded over by the father of lies. Lucifer, Satan, the devil, Hashatan, the demons of this world tempt them and lure them away. But we are strong in Hamashiach, and his power is exceedingly great in those of us who believe. So here's how. 8 years ago, I'm giving you the very quick version. I've got lots of other messages where you can get into it deeper. 8 years ago, I get diagnosed, over 8 years ago, I get diagnosed with kidney cancer. There's a monstrous vampiric parasitic tumor perched like a gargoyle on my left kidney, sucking the life out of me, destroying me from within. And size of a grapefruit, just about 14 centimeters. They tear it out along with the left kidney. They already see it at that time in my right kidney. They see a small lesion in my right kidney, about 2 centimeters. And they talk to me about doing something about that, but I've only got one kidney, so I'm not messing around. And so I'm going to deal with it myself, not with the scientists, not with the doctors. And I begin my faith walk with Yahushua HaMashiach. I'm working alongside an ordained minister by the name of Jess, and she lays hands on me. I ask her, lay hands on me. She brings me in to the journey, the faith walk, the pilgrimage to Yahushua HaMashiach. And so it begins. And so I'm going to watch what happens because I only have one kidney. I'm not going to mess around. I'm not going to do more surgeries and destroy the tissue. I'm not going to do what they call ablations and burn out or freeze up the tissue and risk bleeding. Not unless I absolutely have to. But we're going to monitor it. We're going to use ultimately what comes. Ultimately, first it's nutrition, then it's research, understanding biology, understanding the principles of diet, understanding visualization, and understanding Yahushua HaMashiach and how he can heal. Visualizing his healing energy. And so I head down that path. And another one of those little lesions shows up a couple of years later on my kidney. That's right. It's growing. It's spreading. But ultimately, it stops dead in its tracks, along with the other one. And what else do we see over that time? All of a sudden, they see something on my pancreas. They see spots in my bones. They see a lesion on my thyroid, and that one was also a real concern. Not just the bones, of course, but the lesion that they saw on my thyroid, because my mother had thyroid cancer, and she ended up dying of thyroid cancer. And so you can imagine what I'm going through at this time. And that was probably about 2018. So that's now 6 years ago. This is happening. And I'm deep in Hamashiach, visualizing Hamashiach heal me. And I've gone through all kinds of permutations about how Hamashiach heals me, and the visualization, and seeing him in my mind's eye, and seeing him healing me. And praying to him. And the visualization becomes stronger and stronger and stronger. More, he delivers more understanding about how to visualize. He delivers more understanding about how to pray to him for my healing. He delivers more about how to receive his healing love, his healing energy, his healing radiance, his healing brilliance, his healing life, his healing spirit, his living water, and the bread of life, such that I never go hungry, such that I never thirst. And so it gets to a point where I'm not just praying, I'm visualizing, seeing his healing energy. And what ultimately happens? What ultimately happens through my connection with Yahusha? Here we go. So, the thing that they see on my pancreas, as we begin to follow this up, turns out to be nothing more than a collection of fluid draining off of the surgery that I had to remove the kidney and the first tumor. And the spots that they see in my bones, ultimately, they do bone scans. It's nothing. Nothing there. It's not cancer. And the lesion, the nodule they see on my thyroid, on follow-up, gone. Nothing there. They can't find it. They're baffled. Where is it? They go back to my old scans. It was right here where we're looking. Where is it? And they come back and they're looking now with this follow-up. They can't find it. It's gone. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Praise Yah. His exceeding power and greatness manifests itself in those of us who believe. And that's not all. What else do they find years later? So first of all, those two other nodules, those two other lesions, which they know from the scans that some of it is solid, so some of it is cancerous. So they know. So I've got two tumors for the past, one of them for the past, over 8 years now on my right kidney. Is still there, hasn't really grown. And the other one that showed up a year later, that's still there, hasn't really grown. Sometimes they grow a few millimeters, sometimes they shrink a few millimeters. And then, 6 months ago, what do they see? Well, hold on. Push that off to the side. Liver issues. Oh, the cancer goes to my liver 2 years ago. The cancer goes to my liver. That evil, senseless, lifeless, purposeless, vampiric, parasitic, Luciferian mass of cells shows up and spreads to my liver. About 2 centimeters, we rip a chunk of my liver out. Healed! That's now over 2 years ago. A year Later, after that, last summer, I start to get liver issues. My liver enzymes start to skyrocket. Looks like there's damage. And they skyrocket. They go super high, those liver enzymes, super high. Shocking how high they go. I get an ALT that goes up to almost 400 and an AST that goes up to almost 200. Check that out. Do some research on that. Yahusha heals the liver. All gone, all healed. For the past 3 months, I've had normal liver enzymes. Normal liver enzymes. Because I'm visualizing he heals all the parts of my body. I see it every single day. Grateful, thankful, and visualize and see. I see Yahusha healing all these parts of my body. And then, 6 months ago, what do they see? So they see, actually, this might be 10 months ago, they see in my mid-thoracic spine, they see something. It looks like it could be a hemangioma, a collection of blood vessels, but they don't know. And so we monitor it. We're going to follow it. So on the next round of scans 4 months later, which is now 6 months ago, they see it again, looking more and more like a hemangioma because it hasn't changed. But they also find a spot, a 7 millimeter lesion on one of my left ribs. What is that? But I believe, I have to go back to the report to check, but they also say that they saw it, I believe they say they saw it, although they didn't report on it on the scan before that, 4 months before that, which would have been 10 months ago, and they say it looks like it hasn't changed, so, it could just be, it might not be anything. It hasn't changed, right? It could just be benign. Let's keep our eye on it. And they also find now, 6 months ago, they also find a 6 millimeter or 8 millimeter, because in the report it shows in the notes 6 millimeters, but then in the write up it says 8 millimeters. So who knows which it is? But ultimately they see a 6 millimeter or 8 millimeter nodule in my right lower lung. Now remember, the kidney cancer that I have has already spread to my liver. So clearly this is something that the doctors are concerned about. They're keeping an eye on. But I'm deep every single day on my knees, receiving his light, receiving his healing radiance, seeing it fill my liver up with his healing energy, seeing Hamashiach fill my kidney up with his brilliant, radiant light, seeing him fill my lungs up, seeing him fill my left rib cage up with his healing brilliance, his living water, seeing him fill my right lower lung up with his healing burst of energy. Such I see it, and he heals me every single day. And so we go in a couple of days ago for the follow-up scans on all these things. What's happening? And so we just got the report back. So here's the report. The mid-thoracic spot that they see on my spine hasn't changed. This report says it's likely a hemangioma at this point. The 7 millimeter nodule that they see on my left rib, unchanged. And the report says, at this point, likely a benign process. Because it hasn't changed. And the right lower lung, the 6 millimeter or 8 millimeter nodule, lesion, gone. Can't find it. It's not there. Praise Yahuwah, praise Yahuwah, praise Yahuwah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. His healing energy is real in those of us who believe. His exceeding power manifests itself in those of us who believe. His healing radiance, his healing brilliance, his healing energy, his living water absolutely bursts forth from us in those of us who believe. It is real, my people. It is real. His healing energy is real. Yahusha is real. He heals you. As he says, believe the mountain can move, and it moves. And I got to tell you, I've been doing this for a long time. For a long time. And every time I get that scan, that report, for a moment, my heart starts beating. I'm a bit concerned. I say a prayer, and then I read the report. This has been going on for 8 years. Over 8 years. And I've been deep in visualization now for years upon years upon years. At the level I'm doing it now, it is unmatched. It's never been as intense as it is now. What I see, how I see it, and I'm going to do it as soon as I finish this message. I'll be on my knees, feeling Him fill me up with His healing energy, His exceeding power, His exceeding greatness that manifests itself in those of us who believe. Look, don't get me wrong. I know that one day I'm going to pass into His kingdom. I know that. We all are. Well, we're all going to die. And many of us are already dead. I'm alive for the first time in my life. I am alive. I drink of the living water such that I never thirst. I'm alive in His word. And I have everlasting life in the kingdom of Yah. And so you can have that as well. But we're all going to pass from this body. This body is going to cease to exist. Most of the world walks around like the walking dead, the living dead, like zombies, because they are the living dead. Their hearts are dead, their souls are dead, their spirits are dead. They live in Lucifer. They live with the demons of this world. They don't live in Hamashiach. They are unfulfilled, unsatisfied, ungrateful, unthankful. They are wanting, they are longing. They feel hopeless, they feel despair, they feel depressed, they feel worried, they feel anxious, they feel frustrated because they don't have the answers and they won't turn to Hamashiach. In spite of themselves, they'll bite their nose off, as my mother used to say, to spite their face. But He is real. He is real. I've been doing this for a long time, this visualization, seeing Him. And as I said, now He fills me up with so much intensity, so much light. It's light, it's healing radiance, it's healing brilliance, it's healing energy. And I see it, and it jumps out of my body. And when I see Him healing my right lower lung, I see that light, I see that brilliant, beaming, absolute, just radiant ball of energy just pushing out of me. So I'm healed in all these different ways every single day. And I'll be on my knees, as I said, when I'm done with this. And I'll feel His energy bursting forth from me, healing me. His power manifests in those of us who believe. Imagine the dichotomy of the wise men of this world who look at us as if we're foolish, who can't understand or come to grips with the word, and just look at it as you would look at any book, as you would look at any saying, as you would look at any parable, as you would look at any story. They look at it as a myth, a fable. That's what a legend. That's what they look at it as. If they even look at it as that, they mock it. They reject it. They belittle it. They don't understand it because they can't understand it, because they don't want to understand it, because of the truth that it would reveal about how they want to live their life in decadence, depravity, defilement, debasement, and in honoring themselves as a God, as a deity. It's literally a sacrament to themselves in their hubris, their arrogance and conceit. They don't want to submit. They don't want to render themselves on their knees before their Maker, before their Creator, before Yahuwah. Because then they would not be gods. They would simply be servants. And even Yahushua HaMashiach came here to serve, and so do we. And so I know that from this body, I will pass. Eventually, that's going to happen, as it will for all of us. But it ain't today. It's not right now. Because I have a mission. I have a purpose in Hamashiach to shout from the rooftops for all of His glory, for all of His bounty, for all of His blessings. My cup runneth over. How could I not? How could I not share this with you? How could I not help spread the good news of the kingdom of Yah and of His healing love, His healing energy, His healing radiance, and His healing brilliance? If you need hope, He will give you hope. If you need freedom from addiction, He will free you from addiction. If you need healing from illness and disease and sickness, He will heal you. Praise Yah. Let us live in Him as He lives in us. And let us walk stronger than ever, alive for the first time in our lives, as we move and groove and speed, unstoppable, unconquerable, undeniable, unassailable, undefeatable, relentless and ceaseless, to kingdom come.